Welcome to the Beatdown Bandits podcast, the spooky Halloween edition. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna wear this the whole time. Yeah. So, if you're, sorry, if you're listening to the audio version, I was wearing a spooky zombie mask thing. So, spooky Halloween edition of the Beatdown Bandits podcast. So my hair's all messed up. Today seemed like a very obvious topic, right? With it being Halloween. So today's just going to be Halloween discussions and my traditions. That feels like a bad word because I don't feel like I had like Halloween traditions. We were like a big Halloween family growing up. Still not right now, but I want to talk about like what my Halloween experiences has been, and also because this is kind of more of a gaming podcast, I want to discuss Halloween events in games. So I'm going to discuss that. So currently, like in my life, like I have kids. My son's a teenager, doesn't really dress up too much, although interesting enough, he actually is this year. I think like he's kind of hit a phase as a teenager where like it's kind of cool again, like from like 10, 11, 12, like, nope, not cool. It's dumb to dress up. That's very kid. And, now I see teenagers all the time dress up for Halloween. So I think it's just, it's a phase for a teenage boy. So my daughter, who is about to turn like 8, she's always excited about it. So she's all excited for it this year again. And, that's just kind of the joys of parenting, right? To deal with that. So, me personally, though, like I am not super big on dressing up. Like that zombie mask that I just wore, I bought maybe 4 years ago or so, and I've probably worn it 3 times for Halloween, just like hand out candy. It's pretty good just to set and hand out candy. And for those watching on YouTube, I do have like a shirt that goes with it. Like, yeah, it's pretty fancy. It's got like bloody arms and stuff, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It's good to just kind of set and hand out candy with, but I'm not really big on dressing up, so to speak. So, I pretty much just recycle this. Although, like, I know a couple times, like, just taking my kids to the like a spirit Halloween or something like that. Like I've looked for a couple things and just to see if something like strikes my fancy as like, ooh, that's cool. No, nothing really does. So I just can't quite find something that I would be willing to drop money on and wear. It's just, not necessarily something I want to do. So I just recycle this and use it multiple times. No big deal. But that's kind of one of my questions that I have is like, how many adults like that actually do listen to this do wear Halloween costumes? So you can reach out to me like on like Twitter, for example. It's GUBUCKI gaming G0. Sorry, I said G0 BUCKI gaming on Twitter, not at. Like trying to give them an email, but in the description of the video, there's all sorts of contact information, socials, things like that. So reach out to me, send me a DM, Instagram, Twitter, email, whatever, and let me know, or just comment on one of my videos. Let me know if you dress up for Halloween, because I'm kind of curious, like what adults do that. Not judging, but I definitely know some that do and some that don't, and just kind of curious what percentage actually still do that, or like get excited about, or is it like just like a default thing, like, oh, I have to because I have kids and they want me to? That's also quite possible. So I know as a kid, we didn't have tons of money, so especially like by the time I was like 10, 11, 12, like my parents were kind of getting separated at that point, and so finances were a little harder to come by. So I had like homemade costumes, stuff like that. And I do remember like one year getting like a ninja costume. That was pretty cool. I can't really remember too many of the others though. But I did have like a unique experience as a kid, and something cool that I was able to do is from like the ages of like 5 probably until I was 18. We actually owned a campground. So my family had purchased it, yeah, when I was 4 or 5 years old, and then my dad ran it after like my parents got divorced. My dad just continued to run it, but I continued to help out him, like when I was like 13, 14, 15, and stuff too, like helping working in the store and mowing grass and you know weed eating and doing whatever I can, picking up like the trash around the campground, things like that. But it was a very cool way to grow up. Very unique experience that most people don't get to do. And then, but like being in the north, like the campground was only open from like April 1st until Halloween. So the somewhat warm season where it's manageable to camp outside in the north. So that Halloween weekend was always like the closing weekend of the year, and it was usually pretty busy. But we always did a haunted hayride, and it was always packed, a lot of fun. But my brother and I were responsible for kind of creating the route of the hayride, and we'd set up 5, 6, 7 spots of like little like scare spots, scare station. I don't know, little different spots along the way, and dress up, and we'd get our friends to come out and help us out. So we'd have 7, 8, 9, 10 of us there, and couple we'd have to kind of move between spots or whatever, and it was a lot of fun. We made a lot of like tombstones, and would use a bunch of spotlights and spooky music or whatever, and it was a really good time, and I think a lot of people had fun. But that was just like a fun part of kind of growing up. Scared a lot of kids, good times. Good times. So yeah, that was kind of my experience. Yeah, I mean, especially like when I was like in high school, my friends were always excited to do it, and they'd come out, and it would be a blast. And yeah, there'd be a bunch of our friends there, and just did a lot of stupid stuff, but yeah, it was fun. So because this is a kind of a gaming channel, obviously I wanted to kind of discuss some of the Halloween like events that happen in games. I'm just going to talk about a few. I'm sure there are tons of like Halloween events that happen in games, but I just want to talk about like some that I've done here over the last couple of years that have been fun. At least I've done some that were kind of bad. One I haven't, and so I want to start with that is Call of Duty. So I know they've got a new one, and I've seen some videos on it, and apparently it's like super legit and super fun, and it does look that way. I just haven't had the desire to play Call of Duty for like the last several months. I know Red Dead has something kind of going on right now too, like a Halloween pass. Um, I have some friends that play it, and actually Matt and Steven, who are kind of co-hosts with this podcast, play it a lot, and they've got that Halloween pass thing going on. I'm not big with the online on Red Dead, for sure. Although I do have something very unique coming with Red Dead that I'm slowly working on. We'll get there, but they've got that going on. Now, Grand Theft Auto 5 had like the slasher mode, and I think they've done like 2 or 3 different types of it, but like a bunch of different maps with it. It's been out for probably like 4 or 5 years. It's always available, but obviously it doesn't become popular until like Halloween time. But that was a lot of fun. That was a pretty fun event. You would basically it was like basically like 1 versus 4 or 1 versus 3. And the one person is like the slasher, and they get like a machete. I was blanking on the word. They get like a machete, and then the other 3 people have to basically hide, and it's pitch black, and they're hiding in corners or whatever, and it's really fun. And they have like 3 minutes to basically, like the slasher has basically 3 minutes to find the basically victims and kill them. After the timer runs out, like everybody gets like a pump action shotgun. So it's pretty pretty funny, and I had a lot of good times with that. Unfortunately, like YouTube apparently doesn't like it, so they demonetize all my slasher videos. It's kind of a bummer because they're pretty fun, and apparently murder is frowned upon on YouTube. So that's a bummer. So, moving on, Apex currently, like Apex Legends has their Fight or Fright event, and they've had two different styles. So last year's was very cool, very unique. Is basically everybody drops in solo, right? And when you die, you come back in as what they call a shadow. So basically it's like the dead version of your character, and you're super fast, but you have like very little health. You can't use guns, you can't use, you know, any armor, you can't pick up anything, but your melee is super powerful. Basically you can kill somebody with like 2 hits and knock them down with like 2 hits. But you're obviously very weak, so if somebody shoots you 2-3 times, you're done. So yeah, it was a very fun event, and basically when it gets down to like the final 10, as the ring comes in, they have to get onto like an escape vehicle and get out. So if the survivors can get onto it, they win. If all the shadows kill, they win. The problem with the event is like when people died, they left. They didn't actually play as the shadows and try to win that way. They wanted to actually try to survive the event. So it came down to like very few shadows trying to kill off all the final people, and it wasn't very fun. So that was a very frustrating, and it was probably 3/4 of games where a lot of the shadows left. So that was a frustration. Well, now in this event, it's got goods and bads to it. It wasn't quite like this year's event isn't quite as intense, but the nice thing is people don't leave. So basically how it works is you drop in with a squad of 3, and if somebody on your team dies, they respawn as a shadow. So now you can basically have like a shadow bodyguard, basically. And as long as you have at least one person on your team still alive, then you can kind of continue on. So the goal is basically to squad wipe a team and get them all out, and then you're good. So you definitely have to kill the alive people. So it's not quite as intense and scary as last year's event, but it keeps people more involved, and the games themselves might be more fun, but it's just not quite as intense and scary as last year. So it's got goods and bads, I guess, with it. And then finally, like one last game I wanted to talk about was Rainbow Six, which I don't know if they still do their Halloween event. And I think it was last year that they finally had one. I think it was last year, it was maybe 2 years ago. And that one was actually kind of fun. It was probably the I don't even know if I was like scared, but more or less just like, oh my god, like run type of moment. And actually I don't know, it was really freaky. Actually, you know what I could do is I have somebody clipped it in one of my Twitch streams. Also shameless shameless plug for my Twitch. You can find me at twitch.tv/G0 BUCKI Gaming. So Go Buckeye Gaming with a 0 instead of an O on the Go Buckeye. I know that's really hard, but you know, link down there. So you can find me there, and yeah, you know, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'll play that clip, and that you could watch me stream there.
You have been spotted. 60 seconds remain.
No, I ran right into that guy's scanner. I bet I kind of scared him. Oh, I turned invisible right at the last second. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that is it as far as like the Halloween stuff goes. So So yeah, real quick and short and easy one today. So again, thank you very much for watching. Make sure, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. All right, later.